Hello everyone, this is MC Deck Discussions and I'm Abhi Small, and today I have another demonstration video demonstrating a particular deck, Winter Soldier Aggression deck, and I'll go ahead and show you that deck real quickly in a little bit. So I'm on my final round. I'm about to defeat Nebula, but after I do that, I'm also going to show you some other possibilities that could have occurred that would have been more exciting than how this is going to be finished, because the way this is going to get finished could have been done, in most any deck. But I want to show you some of those other things too that could have happened. It just isn't the way that this particular game finished up. But Nebula is very tough. This is Nebula against Nebula in Expert, and Nebula can be highly challenging. Nebula did, in fact, beat me the first time I played her, and then I tried playing a couple more times, and I just had to start over. This is my third time having to start over because I kept making mistakes. So that's the other thing about Nebula is it's easy to make mistakes on the villain turn because there are a lot of things to keep track of. So in any case, let me go ahead and quickly show you the deck. Okay. And as I mentioned, there's a deck discussion video that would have just come out recently that would have already gone over this deck in more detail, but here is the gist of the deck. So it's called Winter's Weapons Against Cold-Hearted Killers. This Winter Soldier deck, Aggression, 41 cards in it. And for the allies, we have the added additional cards are Bug, Captain America, Ironheart, Nick Fury Sr., and Wolverine. For the events, we have 3 Firepower. So this is a Firepower deck. It's going to have weapons in it. Face the Past, and 2 Directed Force, which is meant to enhance Firepower or some of the other attacks as well. We have 2 player side schemes. Build Support, which is the only way we can get Quinn Carrier into play, but Quinn Carrier is a really nice card to have in this deck. Superpower Training, which is mostly meant to get the Winter Rifle out. If it happens to already be out, it can be used to get out the Winter Mask or Winter Armor. And the 3 Double Resources. In addition to Quinn Carrier, we also have Helicarrier. We have Combat Training to increase Winter Soldier's attack by 1. We have Endurance, Yarnbjorn, so there's one of our other weapons, right? Winter Rifle is already a weapon that comes into the deck. Yarnbjorn's a weapon. Martial Prowess to help generate more for the attacks, because we have quite a few attacks in this deck. Attack events, that is. 2 shield sidearms and 1 regular sidearm. Those are all to give us some extra weapons to be able to help ignite firepower, allow it to fire off well. All right, so that's it. There's the deck. Let's go back to the rest of the game. Okay. And as usual, I'll have timestamps. So what I'm about to do is share where Nebula's is on her side, and then what I have out on my side. So you can skip ahead to just that last round if you wish to, and to the extra discussion I have at the end. All right, so here's Nebula, right? She has her 2 scheme, 3 attack, and when she has techniques out, she will, when she attacks or activates, she will ignite those techniques. She happens to have 1 technique out right now, and it gives her Stalwart, right? So it has a couple of tokens on here. In the zoom, when it's zoomed in, you can't see the tokens, but if you were to look real closely, I have a Confuse and Stun token here. That's to indicate that she currently has Stalwart and can't be stunned or confused right now. Okay? And she currently has a Tough status, so that could have been problematic in this round. And then Nebula's ship, these evasion counters get placed on here at the beginning of each of her turns, and extra ones can get on here too. And then those evasion counters control what gets added to the main scheme. And as you can see right here, we're actually on the 2nd main scheme, and we're about to lose. It has 7 on it right now. Next round, it would add 4 more automatically, and we would lose for that reason alone. But also she has 3 attack, and she has the Power Stone. So that's a 4 attack, and I only have 4 life left. It's hard to see in this small... Oh, let me go full screen again. There we go. It's hard to see at the top here. There we go. Hard to see at the top, but we only have 4 hit points remaining. Nebula has 12 hit points remaining. So this has been a close game, right? So she was getting very close to winning. She could have beaten me the last couple of rounds if I hadn't just happened to have, a Bug to defend on the last round. And the time before that, I had one of, where is it? Here it is. I had Arm Block that was able to allow me to survive. So she's been putting on the pressure. But now I'm getting my chance to go after her. So let's look at what's on my side. So for the weapons, I have Winter Rifle, Yarnbjorn, shield sidearm. So I've got 3 weapons out. And then I also have combat training. So right now, Winter Soldier's attack is 3 ATK just with that alone. I have Winter Mask, Quinn Carrier, Milano, because of what the scenario is, and the Cybernetic Arm. And you can see in my hand, I have 2 doubles, Metal Punch and electrical discharge. So I am about to win with these cards here. But first, we've got to get rid of that tough. So let's go ahead and let Winter Soldier attack and get rid of that tough right now. So that's an attack of 2 plus 1 more is 3. And so that gets rid of the tough. So let's get rid of that. Okay. So again, when I'm zoomed in, you can't see the tokens. You have to look at where my arrow is pointing here to see what the tokens are on her. Let me get rid of that damage token. All right. So that so she's still at 12, but we got rid of the tough. So let's go ahead and now attack. So I'm going to exhaust the Milano. Excuse me. I'm going to exhaust Cybernetic Arm, and then this double genius here to play Metal Punch. Okay. And then, oh, I forgot to mention, we also had a couple of these side schemes out too that were making things challenging. All right, so Metal Punch, which because of using Cybernetic Arm is going to deal 1 extra damage. So Metal Punch deals 7 damage. Plus, if you exhausted Cybernetic Arm to pay for this event, the attack gains Overkill. All right, which doesn't matter in this case, but when I show you some extra things at the end, you can see where it could have mattered. So we're going to deal 8 damage, bringing Nebula down to 4. So she went from 12 down to 4, right? So that gets rid of Metal Punch. Okay. And then as you can see, we have enough to finish off here. But before we do, let's go ahead and exhaust Yarnbjorn. Okay. So after your hero attacks an enemy, spend a physical resource, deal 2 damage to an enemy. So we're going to spend Quinn Carrier. That's going to be our physical resource. And we're going to deal 2 more damage, bringing her down from 4 to 2. Oh, by the way, we should have now acquired the Power Stone because we dealt plenty of at least 3 damage there. Okay. And then now we can finish off with the electrical discharge. Oh, hey, this had piercing. Never mind. When I attacked for my 3 to begin with, wow. I forgot that the Winter Rifle has piercing and range. So we can deal 2 extra damage. So that was, what, 3 damage for 5 damage? So now actually it's 2 more damage, so she's basically down to -3. So she's already defeated. So far we started at 12, down to -3. That means we've done 15 points of damage. If I calculated that correctly, somebody can let me know if it's wrong. Okay, but that should have been, that should have been an extra damage. So 12 damage altogether. And then, of course, now she's already defeated, but we can then use this energy here to play this electrical discharge. And electrical discharge will then deal 4 damage and, in fact, stun Nebula, but 4 more damage for a total of 19 damage. Okay. But what I wanted to show you was some other possibilities that could have happened here if I had particular cards in my hand. So, that's it for that part of it. So here's the extras that could have happened. So I'm just going to kind of ready things. Back up. There we go. And so some cards that I already played in previous round, okay, would have included Firepower and also could have included Directed Force. Okay? So let's just suppose that I had those couple of cards in my hand, and I could have even had an extra Directed Force in my hand too. But let's just say that I didn't. Which, by the way, even if I had had just 1 Directed Force in hand, notice that when your hero makes an attack that has a keyword, Overkill, Piercing, or Range, we could deal 2 additional damage. So we could have done 2 additional damage with, say, the Winter Rifle, because that gives you piercing and range. And then we also could have done 2 extra damage from Metal Punch. It deals 7 damage, and then it gained Overkill because we used the Cybernetic Arm. So we could have done 2 extra damage on that and done 10 damage from it, right? So there are all kinds of ways to do extra damage because of the Directed Force. But let's just say we did have Firepower in hand, so I wanted to show what kind of damage that could have done. So if I had used the Cybernetic Arm, right, so that's a wild resource plus the event deals 1 extra damage, right? So exhaust that, play Firepower. And let's get rid of this electrical discharge. Okay, so play Firepower, right? So then I can exhaust up to 3 weapon upgrades I control. For each upgrade exhausted this way, choose an enemy and deal 3 damage to it. This attack gains range. Okay, so I have 3 of these, right? So 1, 2, 3. So now I would be dealing, because I use the cybernetic arm, it's 1 extra damage. So that'd be 4 damage 3 different times. But wait, if I also had directed force in my hand, then it would deal, now because it's a ranged attack, right? Firepower is a ranged attack. So this attack deals 2 additional damage. So it would have been 6 damage 3 different times for a total of 18 damage from this 1 firepower card. Of course, we had to have a lot of setup to make that happen. But we could have as much as 18 damage. Now, have I done 18 damage in any of my turns? No. I've done 12 damage because I haven't necessarily always had 3 weapons out. So I had 2 weapons out, and I was able to do 12 damage, 2 damage, for a 1 cost, right? Dealing 6 damage and 6 damage. So I have done that so far in one of the games that I played, and I've done all kinds of damage in between, right? So 4 damage and 4 damage, 4 damage 3 times. So all kinds of possibilities there. So, but it's really cool to get things set up and use firepower, and especially if you have that directed force to add to it. But it's really cool that directed force can add to one of our other attacks like I showed you, but it can also add every time to the Winter's Rifle, right? So if you look at Winter Soldier, it has 2 ATK plus combat training, 1 more, that's 3, plus this makes for 5 damage. You can turn even this basic attack from 5 damage, because now it has piercing and ranged, to adding directed force to it, and now that's a 7 damage attack. So, and even if you don't have combat training out, that's 6 damage. So lots of potential for all kinds of damage with this deck. Lots of fun. And when I do my deck discussion, I'll mention there was a person who I had a discussion with in one of somebody's videos. It might have been my video or somebody else's video. Somebody I had a discussion with that inspired this deck. So I'll be sure to mention them in the deck discussion video. All right. That's it for this recording. Have a good one, everybody.